the people are, we've asked them now to begin to start to come forward with development plans, what they're planning in each of the prayer houses. We've asked them to come next week on the 14th of March with written out very specific projects, priorities of each prayer house, what they have planned as far as development goes, as far as projects. So some of them have already come in with their projects, and others are still yet to do that. But each project has to be approved now then by the larger group, by the whole body of the parish. And then if the project is seen to be a viable and a good project, most of them start off with trying to build their church building, so that they have some place to gather. Like it's also a place for meetings and for teaching and other things too. The church, it's not just the building used for Mass on Sunday, but it's used in other ways, and they don't have any other buildings in their villages really that are large enough for people to gather. So it's an asset for the whole community that way as well. So, but for example, say Gaturi came in now with their projection of how many loads of sand and cement that they need to finish off their floor and the altar and the windows and some seating, some pews, etc. in the church that they have. So they have come up with a figure of needing 500,000, and they have 60,000 shillings in the bank. So they'll need about almost 500,000 anyway. But see, what we have suggested to them is that we will attempt to get Canadian sponsors or support from Canada, especially through the Missionary Association of Mary Immaculate, through MAMI, to support these projects. And what we're suggesting is matching 50%. Say they have a Makatha, and they raise, 250,000 shillings, say. Well, then we would try to get 250,000 shillings from Canada so that they could complete that project. So whatever they raise, we will try to match. That would be, say, for example, to finish that church off would be a total of $12,000 to finish the church. Well, they'll try to raise 6, and then we will try to raise 6,000 or 250,000 shillings. And the same with all the other projects. That each prayer house has priority of buildings, like for a church or for a school or a clinic or something, medical clinic or. So one of the things that we were going to suggest. So many people struggle with education here in Kenya, especially at the secondary level at high school. I think I read in the paper that there's only something like 15% of the girls actually enter into Form 1, which is high school, grade 9, and 25% of the boys. But it's not only part of the problem is that there's no space in the boarding schools, in the high schools for students. There was one student there wanted to get into the Tamao school from here, even to go way over there, and a couple of hours away. And I thought it wouldn't be any problem because they seemed to have lots of space there when we were there, and. Only to discover that they're full up, and they've taken 150 students into Form 1, and that's all they can board. That's all the room they have. So, see, she has to wait now till next year before she can go to high school. And we've had perhaps about 25 families who have come, or students who have come to see us in January here, thinking that we could help because we are North Americans, we have access to sponsors, we have help, for them, etc. So they come because they're desperate and they're just hopeful that we will assist them. But we had decided we just cannot start that individually, one by one, trying to financially help people to go to high school. It just would be a never-ending flood. People would be coming to the door constantly. So we've said no to everybody, that we do not at this stage we cannot. We have not figured out how we're going to help, but we cannot start just one by one. People coming to the door and trying to financially assist, because it's about 20,000 shillings for each student. And that's a lot. That's the second reason is that financially, many families cannot afford to send their child to high school. When you think of, 20,000 shillings is $500, but for someone who is working, like even our cook, gets $3,100 a month, which is about $75. But you think of sending one or two students to high school for $500 a year. That's all the food and the tuition and everything, and it's certainly very inexpensive by Canadian dollars. You think feeding somebody for $500 for the year plus tuition, but for their money, in comparison to wages that they make, that's a big financial burden on families. So Father Bill and I were talking and saying, what other solution is there to this problem? So we were saying, well, what about the possibility of trying to assist with the building of a high school right here in Kionyo, but a day school, not a boarding school, but a day school where the students walk